Hi, I'm Justin Crosby and welcome to this week's TellyCast. On this week's show, we're at the TellyCast Brand-Funded Entertainment Summit, our own event as part of Advertising Week Europe. We're talking to the movers and shakers of the brand-funded content industry. For more videos on brand-funded content and content creation, just click on the link below.
TellyCast.
We're here at the TellyCast Brand-Funded Entertainment Summit at Advertising Week Europe, and I'm here with Bhav Chandrani, who's director of B Studio at ITV. Bhav, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. Thanks for having me here today.
Not at all. It's been great to have you on stage. You were opening the event with the first session with Claire Spears from Sky and Adam Middleton from Channel 4, and we were talking all things brand-funded entertainment and key networks in the UK who are active in this area. So B Studio has been going for 6 months or so now, I think. Tell us how it's going and what's changed in those last 6 months.
Sure. So, we launched B Studio in November of last year at the big ITV event, the Palooza. And essentially, B Studio is a bit of a rebrand with some stretch involved. So we've evolved the way we do creative partnerships quite significantly over the last 10, 12 years. And we felt it was time to kind of set out a new vision for what partnerships look like at ITV. We felt the language of branded entertainment fit better with what we were producing and the type of stuff we were doing with brands. And so the B in B Studio stands for the branded entertainment rather than BAV, as some people assume. So that's where the name came from. And kind of the two big new things that we're opening up and really signaling to the market is we want to make a lot more social first branded entertainment, so made for digital content. We actually do a fair bit of this already, but we think it's, for clients, it's something that they're really demanding of us. And we have such amazing skill set and expertise within the building in terms of how we engage with our fans across social platforms already, that we thought there was an opportunity to open up to doing more there. And then the second area is long-form ad-funded entertainment, as we're calling it. So what others might call ad-funded programming or branded entertainment, this is for linear and streaming, so across our channels and on ITVX. And it's a real signal to both advertisers, commissioners, producers, media agencies to say, hey, our doors are open and we'd really like to help you. If the perfect partnership opportunity doesn't exist, let's help you make it.
So that's interesting. And we'll come back to talk about the social first content in a second. But just recap on some of your recent successful projects when it comes to long form branded entertainment. Who have you been working with and what shows have you created?
Sure. So M&S is probably the most high profile, Marks & Spencer, probably the most high profile partner we've got. So we're approaching the 4th series of Cooking with the Stars, which is pretty much unprecedented in UK television for an ad-funded show to go to a 4th series, all in peak. And it's a format that's pretty unusual. And then because of the success of that, we've got another with M&S called Tom Kerridge Cooks Britain, which is a bit more of a kind of UK travelogue cookery show. And then effectively the other part of M&S, so the home and fashion part, approached us and said, how could we do something in this space as well? And so we've got Destination coming up later in Q4 on ITV1 and ITVX as well. So we've done a fair bit with M&S, but we're working with lots of other brands as well. We've got a brilliant show in daytime called Alan Titchmarsh's Gardening Club, which we've done in partnership with Green Thumb. And then really interestingly, because one of the opportunities that launching B Studios created is for us as a broadcaster and streaming platform to experiment and to do something that we wouldn't traditionally do. And so we came up with this format, which is called ITV Studio Sessions. And we came up with it really collaboratively across Lifted Entertainment, which is one of ITV Studios' production labels, the entertainment commissioning team and commercial. So we conceived it together. And then we left what I call 20% flex in the format, so that when we start speaking to brands about opportunities, that there's still room within the format to accommodate the brand and to help the brand tell its story. And so we took that to market, and we found the perfect partner in O2, who are helping fund the series and also providing the location. So it's all shot at one of the small rooms down at the O2. So it's a really integrated, collaborative piece of work.
So that's interesting, the Cooking with the Stars you talked about, the success of that onto a 4th season. Was that an original format created for the brand, or to just give us a sense of the genesis of that project?
Yeah, sure. So we talk about proactive versus reactive, and that was definitely an example of a reactive process. And what I mean by that was that M&S, who had sponsored Britain's Got Talent with us, and they'd also done another partnership with us called Fresh Market Update, they basically came and said to us, how can we bring these two types of activity together into one? And what I mean by that is, how can we get the scale and celebrity and entertainment that Britain's Got Talent offers with the product story that's rooted in our core business of food that Fresh Market Update does? And we didn't have a show that we could sell them a sponsorship and integrate them into that existed already. So what we did was we took that brief and we briefed in South Shore, which is one of the ITV Studios partner labels. So we briefed them in, and together we came up with Cooking with the Stars. So that's kind of how it came about, and that's what we describe as a reactive, in that it was reacting to an advertiser brief.
Okay, well, it's obviously working for them, and you're obviously getting other briefs from them as well, so that's always a good sign. Coming on to the digital first activity now, are we seeing slightly younger skewing brands focusing on more digital first formats and projects for you, or are you seeing that right across the board, that brands are perhaps looking at what might be slightly cheaper options for brand-funded programming, or that might not be the case? I don't know, but tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. So initially, what we're seeing is actually it's for targeting different audiences. So obviously, when people come to ITV with a brief, they tend to have a kind of idea of what ITV will offer, what audiences we can reach, and therefore it's not necessarily about the really young audiences or younger skewing audiences. Within that, so I'll give a few examples. So we've done, we have Argos as a sponsor of Coronation Street, and as part of that campaign, we've created a really lovely piece of social first entertainment, which is effectively Argos product placed items within one of the houses on the street. And we show what that looks like initially, as you would see it on camera, but then we reveal, kind of break down the fourth wall and show actually what it looks like when you take a step back, and how the cameras move within the space, how the furniture has to move within the space to allow the cameras to come in, and kind of helping fans get a glimpse, not just behind the scenes, but like really unveiling an aspect that they would never see. So and that is skewing to an older audience because that's what Coronation Street draws. The flip of that then is Love Island, and we tend to have somewhere between 5 and 9 partners around every series of Love Island. And the way each of them builds their campaign around the show differs. But within that, almost every single one of them, we help them create really interesting social first content. So an example of that is with Boots. The Islanders, while they're in the villa, on occasions get a little bit bored. And so what we do is we take them into the kind of beach hut, which is on camera, and we provide them with some Boots products, and we give them a few simple instructions, but nothing too complex. And from that they create what we call beach hut tutorials, so makeup tutorials that perform really well on social platforms, very native to those platforms. And the Islanders love making it because it gives them something interesting to do. And that's a really lovely, fairly organic feeling piece of content that skews much younger. So there you've got like quite a broad spectrum from Corrie down to Love Island and the audiences. That said, one of the things we're really keen to do in time with the launch of B Studio is to try and encourage media agencies and brands to share briefs with us that historically might not have come to us, and some of which might be younger skewing. And to that end, I've actually, for the first time ever, got dedicated social production expertise within my team. And we've hired somebody who is a native content creator because we wanted somebody who was coming from it from that truly kind of fresh perspective and really understands the platforms and the audiences on in that space, rather than somebody who's coming from a kind of linear or streaming adjacency expertise.
All right. Okay. So they're bringing the youth approach to your programming. Then.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's actually made. His name's Keenan, by the way. Keenan says give him a shout out because he's settled in really well into the team. But he's actually a genuine content creator in his own right. He'd done brand campaigns. He's built up his own following over a period of time, and so he's really got an expertise that we don't have within the department until now.
Okay, and now the wider TV landscape is challenged, and I think we touched on this back at Edinburgh TV Festival when we last spoke. And this was a question I asked on our panel earlier on, was really looking at the potential for brand-funded programming. Is brand-funded programming going to pick up the shortfall due to the fall in commissioning? Is that how you're seeing it? I mean, are you planning on doing more brand-funded content going forward?
So I'll answer the last bit first. So the answer is yes. We definitely want to do more what we call ad-funded entertainment going forward, and that's why we launched B Studio to really indicate to the market and internally that this is a growth opportunity for us. However, I wouldn't say it's necessarily to fill gaps in the schedule. What we see is there is brand demand in this area, and there's commissioner interest in this area. And so we've reached a point where both sides of the fence are engaged and active and open-minded about what can be done. And that's why we see the real opportunity. And the one thing, producers are really leaning into this because, as you say, it is a bit challenged in certain areas at the moment. And so for them, they see this as another avenue to getting a production away.
And one final question. So the producers out there, obviously are in this challenge market, are looking for new opportunities. What is the opportunity for a producer, indie producer in the UK to work with B Studio?
Yeah, so there's plenty of opportunity. As you might imagine, though, because we are ITV PLC, there is a leaning to working with the other ITV Studios production labels. And we've got every genre covered within the company. And there's some excellent both creative capability and specifically brand-funded expertise. So we'll definitely be utilising that. However, there is definitely a world where we can work with a wide range of producers, and some of the shows that we've commissioned recently in the ad-funded space, the Green Thumb example with Alan Titchmarsh that I mentioned, is an independent producer as part of Spun Gold, Penny Lane. But there's plenty of other opportunity. But what I would say is the way that bit works is for producers to continue utilising their commissioning contacts and their relationships with commissioners, continue pitching ideas in the way they always have done. If a commissioner loves an idea, but for whatever reason they can't fund it or can't fully fund it, that's when we start thinking of it as a brand-funded opportunity. So that's definitely the way to go about it, is commissioner first, idea first, audience first.
That's great advice. Thank you, Bhav, for being with us on this the first TellyCast Brand-Funded Entertainment Summit. It's been great to have you as part of the panel. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure, thanks.
So my next guest on this week's TellyCast Brand-Funded Entertainment Summit special show is Adam Middleton, Senior Creative Strategist at Channel 4. How you doing, Adam? You all right?
Very well, yeah. Been a great event so far. So
Thank you. Thank you. Well, great to have you part of it. And Channel 4, obviously, fairly long established brand when it comes to working within brand-funded entertainment. And you were part of our What Broadcasters Want session earlier on. So we're going to touch on a couple of things that we talked about. First of all, just tell us a little bit about your role at Channel 4 and how you're currently working within brand-funded entertainment.
Yeah, so as you say, Justin, Channel 4's rich heritage in brand entertainment is very much evident, and I think one of the key things that we've been doing recently is evolving our offering when it comes to brand entertainment. Traditionally a legacy linear broadcaster. A big focus for Channel 4 now is focusing more on digital activations and being a digital first broadcaster. So big part of my role is thinking about how we can bring branded entertainment into a more digital world, and at times a digital first world as well. So so my role really is taking on those kind of asks, objectives, those briefs from brands, and seeing how we can translate those objectives into brand funded entertainment. So a lot of that starts from a kind of digital first place at Channel 4, so the social channels, our streaming platforms, and then we look at how we can execute that and deliver that across linear TV as well. So very much bringing in the kind of whole Channel 4 ecosystem into play is a big focus for us at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, so typically, if you're getting a brief from a brand, you're looking to activate all those different aspects of Channel 4, the linear side of things, and digital first, which is an area, as you say, has been a big focus of yours over the last couple of years in particular. Give us a sense of how it works internally, because one of the things when it comes to brand-funded entertainment is there's always a bit of a tension between sales and the commissioner. And just give us a sense of how that works within Channel 4. Will you get let's say you get a brief that comes in from a fast food brand, for example. How does that get processed through the business?
Yeah, so I think one of the most important things at Channel 4 is we're completely kind of agnostic when it comes to our approach to these briefs. So no matter what the challenge is, it's really important that we understand, what are the key objectives of this ask from a brand, from this brief, and what are the elements of Channel 4 within our ecosystem that can best serve those objectives. So sometimes that is linear TV, and sometimes it's digital-only channels. Sometimes it's TikTok, for example. Sometimes it's YouTube. So it's really important for us that we take a very holistic overview of the Channel 4 ecosystem initially, to make sense of that and work out how best can we answer this brief, essentially. So importantly, it has to kind of be led from a sales point of view initially, so we understand what our customers want. That is a key thing for us. We call our agencies and our advertisers our customers, and it's really important that we focus on the kind of needs and wants of our customers first and foremost. What we then do, and I think one thing that, again, the kind of beauty of Channel 4 is our commissioners that work on our original content, both on linear and digital platforms, they work on our branded stuff as well. So there's actually, while traditionally there can be seen as a bit of friction between those two teams, we've done an incredible job over the last few years or so to really kind of break those barriers down. And we work with our digital commissioning teams in particular to develop a lot of kind of creative thinking in-house and then work with production companies to execute on that. So a typical process that it can work is a brief comes in, we work out our perfect way of kind of executing on that brief, taking in the products that we sell on Channel 4, the key parts of our ecosystem, and then we work with the digital commissioning team to develop, a winning idea essentially. And then of course, a big part of Channel 4's remit is working with creative partners outside of Channel 4. So we work with our indies and production partners to bring those ideas to life. So yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you that when it comes to creative, because you're talking about the creative teams inside Channel 4, but also obviously you have very creative teams that are external producers. So is it a case-by-case basis of who answers the brief from a creative perspective? I mean, is it at the point you're bringing in an external production company, is the creative already set?
Yeah, so I touched on it in the session earlier. I think one of the most important things with working with production partners is their flexibility and able to answer different asks and service different platforms as well. We talk about the evolution of branded entertainment and how it's really expanded across multiple platforms now, and a big part of that is how it's adapted to viewer habits. So we need to ensure that our production partners are able to deliver content that can sometimes fit that kind of commercial hour on linear TV, but can also sometimes work in a 60-second TikTok asset, for example. So it's really important that we're working with partners that can best deliver across the whole ecosystem. In terms of whether the creative is set or not. It really is case by case, and I think there are a lot of times. Again, I touched on this in the session earlier. There are a lot of times when we're working with our customers where the idea is really there, and it's kind of you see it straight away. And I think the best ways of working here is when we can bring in partners that can help create a vision of that idea and bring it to life. So and of course on the other side of things, there are sometimes when we get pitched absolutely fantastic ideas by external production companies. And we do a job to marry that up with the right brand. And that's because of the closeness that we have with our customers to actually bring the ask, the objectives, the ambitions of that brand into a format that we know our viewers are going to love. So yeah, it can really work both ways. Yeah.
So when you look at briefs that are coming in proactively and reactively, can you give us a sense of a split of those? You know, for example, what I'm trying to get at is what the opportunity is for producers working with you within brand-funded entertainment. So is it the majority that you're dealing with the creative and then bringing a production partner at that point, or just give us a sense of that?
Yeah, I'd say the majority of the work that we see within the walls of Channel 4 is on a reactive basis. And again, that is really down to the work that we're doing behind the scenes with our customers to ensure that we are very close to their advertisers. We understand where they're at, what their ambitions are, and we can then, serve them the right products. And again, bring in that whole Channel 4 ecosystem where we can take on those briefs, be reactive to them, and develop ideas with our partners and internally that can help solve those briefs. So I'd say the vast majority of the work that we do is like that. However, we absolutely do not close the doors to production partners to pitch us ideas. Our commissioners get pitched so many ideas on a weekly basis. And it's brilliant to be able to work with our commissioners in such a close way to work out which of the ideas here that we truly believe in, which of the ideas, again, that we feel like are going to work, again, if it has the potential to across the ecosystem. Sometimes we're after just ideas that live on social platforms. So which ideas that we're being pitched are truly like TikTok native, for example, or which ideas do we feel like will best fit on YouTube, because that's a real kind of core platform for Channel 4 now. And then how can we take those to advertisers to best service them and make the right fit?
Yeah, so for example, if a producer has pitched a show to one of the commissioning team, they really like it, how does it work? How does sales get involved? Say there's a slate of 10 ideas that have come through, and do the sales team look at those and go, oh, well, that would work for a brand, that would work for a brand? Do the sales team get to look at that slate of ideas that the commissioners have sort of said, in principle, we like this, and then they go forward from that point? Yeah,
exactly that. I think, as a strategist, one of the core things that, I really try and focus on is all of our thinking in that proactive space is led by insight. So is there a real commercial insight that we can tap into here where we believe there's an advertiser that can best fit this idea? Is there a audience insight that we believe this idea feels truly culturally relevant right now for our viewers? And therefore we really want to push this idea because we feel like it's going to have that cultural impact that we're after. Also, is there a Channel 4 insight? Is there something where we feel like this idea really fits what Channel 4 is all about? Our remit is such an important part of our existence, and it's really important, again, that these ideas that are getting pitched to us do truly fit the remit. They fit truly Channel 4 and what we're there to do. This idea of creating change for entertainment, we want to ensure the ideas we're taking proactively to our advertisers do that job, basically. So, there is a bit of a criteria that we try and work with as a sales team to then pick the best ideas and take them out to advertisers in a really kind of targeted approach. So yeah.
And so really the message to producers is it's still commissioner first. It's like that's route one in terms of whether it's commissioned from an purely editorial perspective or a brand funded perspective. It's still route one is commissioner.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, our digital commissioning team are just so hot on what's working, what isn't, what our audience love, what they don't love. That really is so important. And I think the most important step really is that kind of relationship that our producers have with our digital commissioning team and our commission team as a whole. I work in the sales team, and I think the most important thing for us is able to take those ideas and find brands that are going to want to work with them. So absolutely commissioner first in the approach that we take, but it is really important that we are putting our customers higher up that ladder though. As a sales team and with our agency partners, no one knows these advertisers better than us. So it's really important that we understand what's going to work out there in terms of what advertisers are really after, what objectives do we feel like this idea is going to be able to solve, and then, work those ideas into that space. So, yeah.
Adam Middleton, thank you for joining us, not only on the event today and being part of the panel, but thanks for joining us for this chat.
No worries.
Okay,
thanks,
all the
Justin.
best.
Cheers. Thanks, Justin.
So my next guest on this week's TellyCast Brand Funded Entertainment Summit Special is Claire Prince, Head of Branded Entertainment at EssenceMediacom. Claire, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Really good, thank you. It's an exciting day. We're talking lots of things around brand funded entertainment, and you're obviously one of the key players in this market. So great to have you involved, both as a moderator on the second panel session of the day. We'll talk about that in a second. So first of all, for people who don't know you, tell us about what you do at EssenceMediacom.
So at EssenceMediacom, we have a department called Creative Futures, which is essentially doing everything that is not traditional advertising and media. So it's creative media, essentially. And I run a department called Brands and Entertainment, which looks after, traditional things like AFP on linear channels, all the way through to short form social content with digital publishers. And things with talent and, sort of like the whole 360 package that you get when working in entertainment with brands.
And that's obviously a growth area, isn't it? It's probably not surprising, but digital first content. We've heard from Bhav from B Studio. We also heard on a panel earlier on from Adam at Channel 4 that's a real growth area for them. Let's talk about long form. Linear brand-funded entertainment then. Tell us about some of the projects you've worked on recently, and I'm sure there's lots you're working on now that you can't tell us about, but tell us about the ones that you've worked with that have been successful.
So the last couple that we've done, we've actually just finished our second series of The World Cook, which is an Electric Robin Banerjee production with our clients at TUI. So we did a first series and then a second series went out in March of this year. And that is on Prime Video. So that's a slightly different way of working in the linear space because it's with a streamer. So a slightly different model. And then a more traditional way of working in AFP, we did an original format actually called Bangers, which was Plum Pictures. That was on Channel 4, and that was with eBay and their car parts and accessories vertical. So that was a show hosted by Tiny Temper and Naomi Schiff, looking at sort of modern vintage cars, and that was the way that we managed to get eBay's car parts and accessories into fun cult car culture, and that was with Channel 4.
So let's talk about that TUI project on Amazon as well, Amazon Prime. So how does that differ from a normal linear brand-funded project?
So there's no commissioners involved, which may make people jump for joy and also make other people quite frightened. So we are very fortunate that we work really closely with Electric Robin and trust their editorial integrity. It does obviously have to keep to Ofcom regulations, and that's something that we do anyway, even if it's an international streamer. This was just in the UK, but we do that because we know that if we're actually working to Ofcom regs, then that will clear in every other part of the world.
You can't go wrong, basically.
You can't go wrong, exactly. Keep to the tightest rules and you can't go wrong. So, so it differs in the sense that, with ITV or Channel 4, you have a programme commissioner who will see it through from start to finish, check in on the edits and have that sort of final say editorially. So we don't have that with Amazon because it goes via Amazon ads. So it's a commercial model, and we put our trust in Electric Robin, the production company, to keep that rigour and that tension of ensuring that it's watchable. And obviously having the Ofcom regs there as well ensures that too. So that's the main difference. And obviously Amazon being a sort of walled garden of the advertising assets that we use around the show just sits on Amazon. Whereas with Channel 4 or ITV, there's lots of other levers that you can pull from the broadcaster in order to get sort of clips or whatever it may be, something from the show. You can work it quite a lot harder with those linear broadcasters.
And you mentioned a couple of production companies there. You're from a production background, aren't you? Yeah. So you've worked in TV production for a lot of your career. How does a production company build a relationship with you, for example? Because I'm assuming that you get a client brief and you decide that brand-funded entertainment and a long-form a show, for example, is the way to go for that particular client.
Yeah.
How do you then select the production company for that project?
It's all about relationships. So, one of the reasons why I got this role is because of my network in production. I did 10 years in the indie sector in the UK. So I worked with, across the board, I was in development, I was in production, and obviously built up a black book of connections that way. And what I now do in this role is talk to obviously those people that I know well and I trust and have worked alongside. But also I get sort of you call them unsolicited. I get unsolicited ideas brought to me from production companies, and what me and my team like to do is have essentially a locker of people's slates, because we never know where a brief is going to come from with a client. It might be sharing a lift with the planning director, or even having a chat with a client that you worked with last year that will say, oh, you know, what's going on? What have you got? We're doing something with flying cats. Do you have anything? And, you know, we sort of put into our locker flying cats, and lo and behold, there's a show about flying cats. So that is the way that we work. You know, that is our value, is having those really strong relationships, and also being really candid and honest up front with production, which is, I'm not a bank. I'm not, you know, necessarily here to just find you money to go away and make your project. There's lots that we need to get from this. It needs to be strategically right for our clients. So it can't just be, okay, so it's filmed in a supermarket. Great, let's get a supermarket. If that's not what the brand is looking for, then we're not going to take it to them. So it needs to be strategically aligned for our clients. They need to be getting something from the show. There's got to be, you know, value, whether that be a reputational thing. So they want to play in AFP because they want to have a shift in perception from the public. And obviously being in entertainment and culture is a great way of doing that. Borrowing culture from the broadcaster and the show, and often the talent. And also, you know, they're getting a lot from it asset-wise. So you're creating, you know, maybe 4, 6, 7 episodes, and those assets are really valuable to our clients to then populate their real estate, whether that's stores or their socials or their actual product. It's a really integrated way of aligning with entertainment.
And so when you get that brief, is it about tapping into more of an emotional connection you're looking for that makes you say, okay, yeah, a long form brand funded show is going to be right for you when you're answering that brief?
Not always. And I'd say every single project that I've worked on has been a very different reason for our clients to be doing it. It might be that there's something happening in culture at that time and they want to show up there in that place, in that space with that person. Or it could be there's a new product, or, you know, lots of different reasons. You know, Dulux, we did 2 series of changing rooms, and that was, you know, that's a perfect example of being, you know, they are the perfect brand for that show. And it was so mutually beneficial for both the programme Channel 4 and also for Dulux.
And you rebooted that brand, essentially.
Exactly. And that is something, you know, you asked me about relationship with production companies. There's obviously lots of small indies popping up with great new original ideas, and that's fantastic. But it's also great to look back and see what existing IP is out there. You know, nostalgia's huge, and also it's much easier for, you know, marketing directors or even people within the agency to hear a recognisable IP and go, I know what that is.
Yeah, to buy into it. Yeah, they can see
Exactly.
how their brand can easily fit into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, Claire, finally, you've been a moderator, so thank you for that, being part of the event. Tell us a little bit about the session that you moderated for us.
So it's called Sticking to the Rules, which I thought was quite funny, because if my secondary school teachers knew that I was moderating a panel called Sticking to the Rules, I think they'd fall off the chair. So Sticking to the Rules, which is something that we is the tension point essentially in AFP, in branded entertainment, because you know, rules are there to protect the viewer and also to ensure that the show is watchable. You stray too far into advertising, no one's going to watch it, and also you're going to break a lot of rules, and you know, it's not good for anyone. So certainly not the brand and not our clients. So the panel, we had Diana, head of legal at Channel 4, and we work loads with Channel 4. They have a brilliant setup there. Obviously, their commercial department and their editorial department know each other very well, and we've done lots of shows in this space with them over the years. Dwayne, who is in Reviewed and Cleared, knows Section 9 of Ofcom like the back of his hand. It was great to sort of drill down into the rules. And what was interesting, what he spoke about, was that he doesn't really know when examples of when things have gone wrong, because they don't, which shows that actually everyone involved in making branded entertainment is so aware of the rules and respects that, both from a brand side and a production side. So that's good. And we had Laura from UTA, who has great experience in prop and product placement, and learning a bit about how that needs to be sort of editorially justified and seamless into the show. And I think Dulux is a great example of that. Obviously you're going to have paint in a DIY home show, and obviously with 2E you're going to use an aeroplane to fly to the destination. So it's ensuring that you're not jarring the show for the viewer, feeling sold to, feeling a bit sort of uncomfortable and icky, and making sure that there's a reason that brand is there.
So finally, let's look at the outlook for brand-funded entertainment. Obviously, there's a big commissioning downturn at the moment. Lots of producers are looking to where the next commission is going to come from, and perhaps trying to approach this in a slightly different way. First of all, if a producer wants to get into this area, how do they get in touch with you then?
I probably get 2 to 3 messages a day on LinkedIn, which is great. And, I don't ever want people not to reach out. Yes, I mean, LinkedIn is probably the first port of call. I think it's really important to note that we really will only work with production companies that have a reputation and a background in making credible shows. It's not, I don't want someone sort of thinking of an idea in the shower and being like, wouldn't this be great? Our clients are big reputation, they've got reputations to uphold, so do we at EssenceMediacom.
It's your reputation when you're suggesting the production company to the brand, right? To your client.
Exactly. And I think, making sure that things are brand safe, so don't bring us thing about murder investigations. Obviously BBC is out of bounds, so don't bring us anything that is looking to be commissioned at the BBC. So I would say, yes, reach out, share your slate, anything that has commissioner interest, where there's potentially a funding deficit, and don't necessarily come with the brand in mind, because sometimes it's not as obvious as you think. World Cook is a cooking show. And it just so happens that we travel to wonderful destinations, and it was aligned strategically with what TUI wanted to do. But you wouldn't immediately think of a travel brand.
No, you might think of a cooker brand, for example.
Exactly.
Right.
So don't assume you know what brands want to do, because we may have, we have a huge range of clients, so it might be right for anyone. But yes, please share ideas.
Great. And then, so what's the outlook then, do you think, in the next 2-3 years for this sector?
What is the outlook? I would like to think that brands can be a little bit like a knight in shining armour, I'd like to think, where, we know that the ad spend is down with broadcasters. So just, our clients still want to be a part of this culture and make it, be around the shows. But if they're not happening, then they need to get involved in actually making them happen. So I'd like to think that there'll be a much closer aligned relationship with commissioners and production and agencies and brands, and a much more kind of level playing field of understanding what everyone wants to get out of it. That is my hope. And I think attitudes will change around AFP. There's some really great examples of brilliant shows that just so happen to be part or fully funded by a brand. And I just, there's no reason why AFP can't be winning broadcast awards and BAFTAs. The level of editorial class doesn't need to lower just because there's a brand involved. If anything, it can be elevated and have more reach and eyeballs.
All right. Claire, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being part of the event, and good luck with everything at EssenceMediacom.
Thank you very much.
So my next guest on this week's TellyCast Brand Funded Entertainment Summit Special is Laura Hopson, Marketing Executive from UTA. Laura, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Thanks for being part of the show, the event as well. So tell us about UTA. Now, UTA is an agency, but perhaps doesn't work within brand funded entertainment in the way that typical agencies do. Tell us a bit about your role there and what UTA does in this space.
Of course. So United Talent Agency are a massive Hollywood talent agency. We've got offices all over America, and recently, the last 2 years, one in London as well. So in London, we've got lots of different talent agents. We have music talent agency. We also own Curtis Brown. So we have all the wonderful actors, authors, literary agents, all different types. But what we do differently is we are brand first. So we are the entertainment, culture and marketing team, and we look after brands as if they were A-list talent. So we put them in the middle of our brand, we put them in the middle of everything that happens within UTA. So we can tap them into all different parts of culture, knowing what's coming first.
And is this approach for brands approaching a brand like a celebrity, if you like? I mean, is this something that's been pioneered in the States and now that's becoming more and more prevalent in the UK market?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I've worked with brands for years at a different agency, but yeah, tapping them into all different parts of culture as an entertainment agency is definitely new and exciting thing, I think, to have in the UK.
Okay, so let's talk about how that works in practice. So I'm a travel agency brand, for example. And we're having a conversation and you're obviously say, we can actually put you at the center of culture. What does that actually mean and how does that work in practice?
So it depends what your brief is, but if you wanted to tap into all parts of culture or your identity is a bit lost, we can help you tap into everything. So whether it's helping you to get a podcast sorted, if your owner's got a very interesting story, we can get a book written for you. And then what we focus on is TV and film as well. So knowing all the latest TV shows around the world and film, and then getting you into those shows, whether it's through prop placement, product placement, or creating an original IP with you.
Okay,
and
so
a production company.
yeah, so is that how does that work in practice within the agency? So my brand, I mean, you're obviously going to utilize all of your current clients as well to see if if an actor can work with this brand or an author or various other talent can work with the brand as well. Is that exclusive? Is it you'd only work with other UTA talent, or can you go?
So yeah, we work agnostically. So it's all about what fits for the brand. So we've got lots of different data tools that we use to help find the right talent. If our talent works, wonderful. If it doesn't, great. We'll still work with the guys. I think everyone has a really close relationship. We want the best for the brand in our case, and that's what's crucial.
So you mentioned prop placement and product placement.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how that works, because I'm sure we'll have a number of producers listening and going, okay, how can we reduce our budget or get some of our budget paid for by the new watch brand or whatever that is. How does that work in practice when it comes to product placement and prop placement? Are they different things? Is that the same?
Yeah, so prop placement is free prop supply. So we work on a retainer base with our client and we will know all the latest shows coming through, whether it be from the BBC, because it's free prop supply, or streamers again, free prop supply, or even commercial channels. And we will then work with production companies to help them save some budget, as you said, and make a scene look realistic by giving them free props. So whether it's a teddy bear or a car or a book, whatever it is to make it feel realistic and then get some exposure for the clients. That's free, but there's no guarantees. And then you've got product.
So when you say no guarantees, that scene could get edited down?
Yeah, it could. Yeah. And that's the sort of risk you take, but also great reaping of benefits if it comes through. So we've just been working with White Lotus, for example. And that's a great opportunity to obviously get on such a popular show. No guarantees, but if we know someone's writing something, we can give them a Montblanc pen, for example.
Right, okay. And did I read that you'd done a deal recently with Netflix and a car brand as well?
Yes, that was an American deal. So they did a exclusive GM deal with EVs, so electric vehicles. And every time that there's an American Netflix show, they have to come to the guys first to see if they can help with a car. Obviously, there's loads of stipulations, like the car blowing up or anything bad happening. Obviously, that would be a no. But yeah, it's sort of a first come opportunity. So it's quite exciting. But they do loads of film stuff as well with it as well.
All right. And then product placement is a different thing. So tell us about that.
So product placement came into the UK just over 10 years ago. It's where you can pay to be in a TV show. You've got the guarantees, you've got the contracts. You do have laws around what's allowed, no high-fat salt sugar products, no gambling and other. But then there's also lots, it's going to happen. So you get to read a bit part of the script where your scene's going to be in with your brand. You can tell the guys about the product so they understand how it could fit best, because someone thinks they know a brand, but it's not always the job that the brand wants to tell them. Sometimes it is a bit more of an education job. And then you can do lots with it. So you can also do, most of the time, you don't just do product placement, you do a licensing job or a sponsorship job as well, just to really amplify it.
And you can also launch a special product on the back of it and really make it work for you. And is this sort of like almost like the James Bond kind of model? Is that right? I mean, everybody must ask you that.
Everyone, James Bond is the most obvious example, but I think there's a lot going on there. And I think sometimes too much, but it's a great opportunity. But I think there's better opportunities. It's just harder. I think if you're doing a drama and it's 6 episodes and you've got, a cup of tea to get into every episode, you want it to look real, so it doesn't always work. Whereas if you've got more of a non-fictional show, there's a lot more opportunity to sort of fit something in, I think.
So tell us a little bit about UTA's current clients then in this treating a brand like a celebrity approach.
Yeah, so we work with Gymshark, which is an amazingly cool brand. Obviously, they've nailed all the social, so now we're helping them getting into TV and film. We've got loads coming up, and that's globally. We work with Mont Blanc as well, so getting their pens, leather goods and watches into shows. Again, all of this is prop placement. We work with Ancestry.com and help them to source some amazing original IP. We work with production companies to help link them together so that their story continues to get told. So they're just a few of who we work for.
Okay, I particularly like Mont Blanc, I'd just like to say,
and
one might fit quite nicely in there. So tell us about the outlook then, you think, for your part of the market. Is it presumably it's growing, and do you see it expanding into other areas, or just generally more brands becoming more savvy and wanting to be part of the cultural conversation?
Yeah, I think it's all about what we hear a lot is about they want to be in the content. So, whether it is prop placement or product placement or, funding their entire show, I think it's about how the word authentic has come up so much here, but, how you can authentically get it into the show. And also budgets. So not everyone can afford maybe £1 million to be in a show. So what are the other alternative ways of getting in there? Yeah,
well, actually, just back to the James Bond point. You when you're watching a James Bond movie and you see the products, they're so obvious, and it is a bit cringe, I think, from time to time. You see, it's like, okay, there's the latest brand, other than something like a Jaguar or whatever, Aston Martin, whatever he's using. But, the watch is the one that often kind of jars a bit.
Yeah. And I think that's always the example that people use. I think they could probably do it in a bit more of a tasteful way because there's so much opportunity, but the films don't get made unless they've got all those amazing budgets. So it all goes back into the production to make a car scene look fabulous. So I guess it works well because everyone feels comfortable that it is James Bond. But if you're watching an ITV drama and, everyone's wearing the watch, I think it would put people off a bit too much.
Yeah. Laura, thanks so much. Really fascinating speaking to you. Thanks for being part of the TellyCast event, and thanks for having a chat with me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So my next guest on this week's TellyCast Brand-Funded Entertainment Summit Special here at Advertising Week Europe is Roberta Zamboni, Head of Branded Content and Sponsorship at Fremantle. Roberta, welcome to TellyCast.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you for having me here today.
Lovely to see you in a very wet and rainy London, but
very London style.
Very London, yeah, exactly. So that's a big role you've got.
Yes, it
Fremantle, huge production business. Tell us about your role and what that actually entails.
I just started a few months ago as the head of branded content and sponsorship at Fremantle. I work with the growing branded entertainment team global at Fremantle. And together we support brand needs in the content space, from local to global, and spanning content genre across entertainment, films, but also digital and channels. So it's a big thing now.
Yeah.
And Fremantle, it's really expanding its scope of work. As a company, we gather more than 60 labels across the world. So our role is very crucial as a brand entertainment team to get, to catch the opportunities in our slate and be able to present them to the markets in the way that they fit more with the brand needs. And again, we work across our already existing IPs that have been commissioned, both scripted and unscripted. So again, brand integrations, but also original branded content, because we work with the best-in-class creators and talents across the world. So it's a very complicated job, but very exciting.
And you've been doing a lot of brand-funded work in Italy, haven't you? And then you're bringing now that to your global role.
Yes, absolutely. Italy is a very, mature market for the brand entertainment. And so I'm taking this responsibility because I was able to, jump on this global role, bringing all the expertise from this brand entertainment business here. And obviously, we're still working on crafting the strategy across the global team in Fremantle. But still working on multiple, projects that haven't been announced yet. But I'm very, excited to give the market very soon.
All right. Well, give us some examples. I know there's lots of things you can't talk about, but give us some examples of things that you can when it comes to Fremantle working within brand-funded entertainment.
Absolutely. We are working on this multi-territory branded-funded program, which is called Call of Beauty. It's been launched, as you said, in Italy last year. It's a beauty talent that we launched with the media partnership of TikTok. Very interesting because it can get all the, let's say, digital talents on TV. And it's been launched in Italy, and then we are running the second series in Italy. And then also we have a license in Greece, and hopefully we'll be scaling this in other countries in Europe. So this is a classic example of the kind of branded funded global projects that we can scale across multiple markets.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you about, actually, whether it's mainly working on a territory by territory basis, but it sounds like, you've obviously got global brands, global IP. That's a huge opportunity to offer brands global campaigns with your IP.
Absolutely. And currently, we are working both on local and global scopes because at the very early stage of this restructured team and work, we have been supporting the local territories as well to provide them with a creative and strategic kit to be able to have their local conversation with brands. But also at the same time, also working with global brands and global media agencies. So this is a two tracks kind of work. On the local side, we're also developing this branded content catalog, which is a collection of our best work across all the territories. Branded funded ideas, all originals that are very brand friendly, also from a production point of view. That territories can pick and pitch on their own. But can also be as a Call of Beauty, like global hits across the territories. And of course, our global IPs can travel and we can work on integration.
So that was what I was going to ask you, actually, about original IP that you're creating for brands versus all these well-known global TV brands that you have. I mean, can you give us a sense of the balance between those? What's the main focus? What is the most amount of hours that you're working on in each of those areas?
I would say 50-50 at the moment.
Right.
So obviously we are increasing the new original IPs for brands. Also, we are hiring new creative resources to do so because you have to have a specific expertise in going to the brands and pitch this kind of BFPs ideas, but also still working on the existing IPs on brand integrations. We are trying to move away from the classic product placement, though. So this is the tip of the iceberg of a lot of more activities that you can develop for brands, like off-air activations that also goes into the amplification of the IP itself. And this is going to be very interesting for brands as well. And also on the brand integration side, it's always how you took the hook, the creative hook, to come up with a meaningful integration, which is not just a cup on a judge's table, but it's more than that. It's something more clever, also for the users, for the audience, that it is much more demanding in this world.
And give us a sense of what the perfect brand-funded entertainment project is for you.
That's a very good question. I think at the basis, there should be an open and honest conversation between the production company and the client and the brand, because it's all the BFPs world requires a lot of efforts from both sides. And so you need to establish a very trusted relationship, first of all. And then obviously, it's also a matter of finding the correct fit between the brand and the content. And we have the best creators in that to do so. And I have to say, when I joined Fremantle 7 years ago, our creators and authors were a bit reluctant in working for brands. Nowadays, it's completely shifted, the attitude. So they really want to jump into the conversation. They come to us proactively, coming with ideas for brands in shows, but also for original ideas, especially for digital. So the world is completely changing. And from a brand perspective, the BFP and the brand entertainment business in general requires also a bit of boldness and also bravery, because you have to be disruptive and also trust the partner 100%.
Well, that's interesting to hear that it's developing and becoming sort of more of the norm within Fremantle. How do you see brand-funded entertainment sector moving forward over the next 2-3 years?
I think the digital part of it will be developing a lot, and we see also the streamers jumping into this conversation. It will be very interesting to see how the platforms, how the streamers are playing this game of the PSPs in the future, also because they're launching all the advertising suits. But also the digital space is very interesting for us. In Germany, we are developing a Twitch program, so just on Twitch. But also Asia is bringing on a partnership with Meta. So it's getting there. So the digital is coming very soon as a protagonist in this space. But also the scripted. I was very, surprised about the fact that we are getting a lot of demands from scripted opportunities from the brands. And we are also working a lot as Fremantle, as a company, in the scripted space. We are at Cannes now with this Partenope Sorrentino movie. And this has a co-production with Saint Laurent, for example. So the fact that the luxury brands are launching their own in-studio production house means a lot to us. So it means that they want to jump into this content premium space, and we need to help them to come up with great content and great partnership on that side. I think that part, digital and scripted, will be the way forward for that. But also shows entertainment is changing the skin, but still be very, very relevant for the markets.
Okay, digital and scripted, big opportunity going forward.
I think so.
For you. Yeah. Roberta Zamboni, thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin.
For joining me on TellyCast. It's been great to have you part of the event at Fremantle. And good luck with everything on the brand-funded content side at Fremantle.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wrap on the TellyCast Brand-Funded Entertainment Summit here at Advertising Week Europe. And I'm here with my partner in the event, Lucy Sanan from 53 Degrees North Media. Lucy, how are you doing?
Wow, what a day.
Yeah, it's been an amazing day. Been packed full of 7 sessions. What we've covered off broadcasters, we've covered off IP, we've covered off compliance. Yeah. We've covered off creators. We've covered off future of digital branded content. We've covered off branded funded podcasts. We've covered off pretty much everything, I think.
And there was some band called Take That at the end.
Yeah, they're on in there at the moment. We're not really worrying about them, but this is where the real action is. So, first of all, what are your key takeaways of the day?
So many learnings, so much good stuff. Finding out what broadcasters want from brands and production companies working with brands and how they can collaborate. That was a really good session to kick off with. A lot of my mind has been focused on digital. So much talk about how IP needs to be across linear and digital and social and everywhere to please brands and media owners. It's really key, and how important creators are as part of that process. So it's been really interesting to see the convergence of all those worlds in a way that really wraps and makes sense.
Yeah, and all of those sessions have been pretty much standing room only, haven't they? So it's really sort of packed the room out. So really happy about that.
Yeah, really happy. I was slightly worried, but nothing to be worried about. It was great. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Well, now it's time to put our feet up, I think, have a bit of a drink, and fancy doing it again.
Not today, but absolutely, it's been a great success. It's been really good and really positive. I think at the moment the industry, a lot of parts of the media industry are struggling. There's waves of turbulence, but I think here it's been incredibly positive. So much opportunity, and I'm really kind of psyched for what's next.
Yeah, breath of fresh air. Well, that's it from the TellyCast Brand Funded Entertainment Summit here at Advertising Week Europe. We'll hopefully see you soon or next year. Who knows?